Okay, so this is the second last panel of the evening, and it's all about the digital revolution in the real estate sector. So, big round of applause, please, for Ernest, Adrian, Andres, and Albert. Yay, come on, enthusiasm.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, first of all, introducing this fantastic team of real estate experts. So Andres Pla from Pronto Piso, Alex Bosch from Housefly. Albert, I'm sorry because I know him and I used to change his name. And Adrian Niculescu from Faster Capital. And what's the name of the other?
It's a Cloudcoin.
Cloudcoin. All right. So, well, first, guys, I would like just to introduce for a couple of minutes every single of your companies. So, perhaps can you, Andres, start?
Thank you, Ernest. Well, I'm Andres Pla. I'm the CEO of Pronto Piso. I've been in real estate since long. I mean, I'm involved since 2002, occupying different positions first of all, in commercial real estate, World Trade Center, and also General Electric Capital. Then I moved, I created my first prop tech in 2012. I have been also real estate manager for different development companies. And also I've been in the realtor sector since 2014 with Engel Folkers and also Century 21. Pronto Piso, what is Pronto Piso? What we do different in this exciting world of prop tech. Well, Pronto Piso is an online realtor, an online real estate agency with a unique proposition. We give home sellers a guaranteed price in 90 days. That means that if we are not able to sell the property we are brokering brokeraging in 90 days, we advance the value of the property to the owner without cost, without interest, in 90 days. So they are able to change, to look for the property that they are aiming, and they can move on, chain free to the next property that they are looking for.
Albert.
Alex. How many of you have seen a dinosaur recently in Madrid in the buses? Only one? Only two? Wow.
All right.
What a waste of money.
I think those are very supportive, actually.
Sure? You haven't seen any dinosaur in a bus? Okay. I'm so sad. I'm Albert Bosch, the founder of Housefly. In Housefly, what we are doing is that it's not necessary to pay a commission to sell your house. It's not necessary to hire a estate agent to buy your house. We have created a platform that helps you, that helps the homeowner to sell their house directly without paying commission, without paying huge commissions, in 70 days, better than in 90.
we give the guaranteed price.
Yeah, we are
give the guaranteed amount.
And also in a very safe environment. So we start the business like 1 year and a half ago, and we are quite happy. We're quite happy about the traction of the business.
Right. So what about you? Explain us a little bit, Nikolai.
Hello, my name is Adrian Niculescu. As a speaker, is a big challenge to speak to such a wide audience. So I will do my best to do back and forth. I live in Bucharest, Romania, and in London, in UK. And I've been an entrepreneur since the last year of faculty. And in the last 10 years, I sold properties as a real estate agent or real estate broker, if you say like that. Starting July 2014, I started to be involved in Faster Capital, which is a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator of company. I'm a Gemini, so I have to be involved in more than one thing. We are dual type of personalities. And since March 2017, I started to be involved. We are in the startup things. I started to be involved in Cloudcoin. Cloudcoin is a digital currency which is based on radar, a system which is much better than blockchain. And I would like to use this introduction to make you aware of one of the biggest trends now, which is the tokenization of real estate assets. And today, just 2 minutes, I will, because I don't want,
We have 22 more.
I
so
could
don't
speak
worry.
for days. So,
If you start the fight, I'm going to put an end.
yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
just 2 minutes to
carry
finish
on.
the introduction. Today was published an article about a development of $30 million in United States, which was tokenized. Basically, when you buy a property, if you want to sell it tomorrow, in theory, it's not possible, right? If you crowdfund the property, if you put $1,000 in a fund for properties, and if you want to sell tomorrow that share of $1,000, it's possible not to be liquid. But if that property has an equivalent in tokens on blockchain, Radar, or somewhere else, and you are able to sell those tokens on an exchange, you are able that $1,000 or a share of the property to transform into money immediately, which is a huge benefit. And look at this trend, tokenization of real estate assets, because it will be huge.
Well, that's very interesting. But all of you guys, you're working on the, let's call it the first layer of the real estate digitalization process. So how do you see, because it's a very classical market, it has been, you know, a market for very conservative investors, for individuals that they've used to transact with those assets, but the PropTech, or what we call, you know, the digitalization of this sector, there is there's lots more to come. So how do you see this market will evolve? Do you think this is the only layer possible to digitalize right now? Because we're talking about stones, actually. And do you think those stones around can create some sort of ecosystem, and you can contribute, and your own companies can grow as well along with that?
Look,
Go ahead.
okay.
Never.
Yeah, sure.
The last disruption in the business, in the real estate business, was about 20 years ago with Idealista, Fotocasa, and so on. Then we've been like 20 years that the innovation was a little bit poor, no? Let's say like this. Maybe because the real estate industry was in a big crisis, so nobody wanted to know anything about. And so now, let's say 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, this is something that PropTech, you know, everybody starts talking about PropTech. In 2012, nobody was investing in PropTech. But in 2016, I think the total investment in PropTech in the world was 2,000 million euros. So it's something that now it's just starting. Let's say like this. It's starting. There is a lot of chup, no, in this PropTech thing. Now where we are is just in the beginning, from my point of view. There are a lot of options. Everybody every day is creating a different option in PropTech. So after 5 years, in 5 years, we're going to know what is really PropTech. No? And my vision in terms of PropTech, in terms of the way of buying and selling houses, I think in the future, and this is the future that I think, is that it's about reducing the friction that you have when selling a house. It's plenty of friction. And if you go to my vision is that at the end, we're going to sell and buy houses like people is selling and buying books in Amazon. We'll see.
No, that's one of a very interesting business model, which is you know, yours, and I think from the Andres, what Pronto Piso does is.
I agree with what Albert said. Look, the realtors, like he mentioned, that Idealista or I don't know, Rightmove, Zillow, or any other real estate portal were they're the big successes in the PropTech market. Realtors didn't want to digitalize because they think that by sharing information, by giving more transparency, they lose relevance in this market. I mean, valuating a property was like a black box. I mean, even in famous realtors, international brands with franchises everywhere, what they do is like a black box. I mean, it's like the expert is the one that gives the value of the property and nobody else. And nobody else has the data. Then landowners, developers didn't invest too much in technology. Why? Because they were more focused on acquisition and asset management. Technology was like, okay, something that we don't want to invest on that. I see more or less, well, I would say quite the same exactly as Albert. Sorry for why. The way of transaction of real estate transaction is going to change in the future. The way we approach the viewings, the ways we approach the visits, the getting the information, even the way that we approach real estate agents is going to change. I mean, some companies are starting to work with bots because they can be better even than a person in providing the information. They can learn from you. They are going to give you a better choice, a better selection of properties. Transaction is going to be smoother. I mean, contracts in the cloud, contract even with blockchain. I mean, secure. I mean, and things will going to be more smooth. No paper, no writing signature. I mean, the money is going to be transferred. No reservations, no amounts that are lost. I mean, I don't want to say that all the industry is the same, but I think that everybody has heard about traditional real estate agents that keep their reserves, or they make scams with the money.
They are not transparent at all.
So this is, I have the same opinion. Trust me, it is going to change. It's going to be smoother, transparent, and it's going to be better for everybody.
Well, that's very, very interesting, because in fact, you're fixing prices at some point, so you're facilitating, you disintermediating the market, just making the transaction more flexible. And Adrian, what about the tokenization? So is this for the end customer as well? Because we're talking about your business, guys, this layer of the PropTech is more focusing on the, you're not going to work with corporations actually, right? Or eventually, but in that case, well, we will get back to this topic. But
to answer that, I would like to provoke the thinking a little bit. A social media share is always less powerful than a phone call, and a phone call is always less powerful than a meeting, right? Face-to-face meeting. And the real estate will always be like a contact type of sports. What happens now and will happen, for example, in Dubai wants to move all the administration on blockchain in 2 years, including the land registry. And you will see other countries putting the land registries on blockchain and on other technologies. Have you seen the movie The Founder about McDonald's?
Yeah.
Which is the business of McDonald's? Is real estate. Which is the business of IKEA? No matter how many Facebooks will appear, everybody will work in some type of building. But this is changing. Have you heard about WeWork? WeWork in London, WeWork became the biggest renter of office in real estate, which is huge. And some governments, like in European Union, Estonia has the most digitalized administration. They will move all the databases. Also the databases, the real estate guys don't want to share one with each other. Even in franchises where the cooperation between agents is like a rule of the trade. So the governments will move those registries on the new technologies, and things will change. Also, the way we purchase properties will also change. The way we make contracts, because on blockchain and on other technologies, when you make the contract, usually the payment is also done in one move. But of course, we are just at the beginning of this. The end customer will have a decision to adapt to this trend or not, because we are in the era of smartphones. If you want to resist on using a phone used 10 years ago, everybody will make fun of you, right? So you don't have any choice. As a human being and in knowledge, you are either growing or dying. There is no something in between. So first, I believe companies working in blockchain, radar, and other technologies, like the prop tech companies, they will lead the trend. And also the governments, as is the case with Dubai. Right. And the state companies, which are very powerful. This is, in Romania, this is a problem, for example, because the state companies, sometimes the people managing them, and this is a cruel reality, are not focused on developing the country, are focused on the commissions they take from whatever type of outcome will appear, which is pretty bad. And if you go in Dubai, I'm using Dubai as an example because I believe it's the most progressive place. They show you the guts in everything they do, the state companies. This is very important.
Yeah, but from my perspective, and I agree with all of you guys, but don't you think this has been a business that the companies or the big corporations used to be the key players in the market? Well, as Albert was mentioning, 20 years ago, Idealist, those kinds of marketplaces where you can just post your house and make it quicker, or having a single access to publish a big stock of real estate, it produces a difference. But right now, what is happening is that you touching maybe some bones of someone that he used to move those stones in a different way. Of course, if we're talking about small real estate agencies, but I'm not talking just about governments. I'm talking about the corporations, the ones that they are big, that they are building, they are selling, they are renting. So there is recently, or suddenly appears a guy like WeWork and takes 20 times more per square meter than they used to take. So how this is affecting, and how do you think this, you're going to collaborate at some point, or you're going to compete with them? So how do you see the disruption in this way?
Well, I believe that in some cases there will be collaboration, in others there will be competition. I mean, look, for example, the international brokers, the ones in commercial real estate, Richard Ellis, Johnson LaSalle, Cushman and Wakefield, they look like they are all in prop tech. I mean, they do not see technology as something that, okay, is nice to have. They are betting on it, and they are starting their own prop tech companies. They are supporting their own venture builders. So they are serious on that. Why? Because, for example, the companies like WeWork. How come some company like Richard Ellis, John LaSalle, or even Heinz, the international developer, I don't know, even Blackstone couldn't. They weren't aware that there could be some kind of space that could be more suitable for the companies of the future. They had all the information and they couldn't see it. Now they see that the prop tech is real. Maybe in the realtors, in the small realtors, sector is very automized. Relies a lot in people, so they don't see the digital menace. But the bigger ones, they see it, and I think that they are embracing it. The small ones, the small real estate agencies, they will have to embrace it the same, because if not, they will die. In some years, for example, in Spain there are 40,000 real estate agencies. It's not sustainable. It's not something that is going to last forever if they do not change.
So we're facing a threat to those small agents, but what about the big ones? So do you think they can revamp themselves a little bit, or they would like to collaborate with you? That's
just one point. If we go to the travel sector, it happened exactly the same.
Yeah.
Before, like 20 years ago, in each and every corner there were a travel agency. Hundreds of travel agencies. Now there is maybe Barcelona and another one. No? Why? Because there is Dreams, there is Booking.com, and you can do everything online. So it's completely disintermediated industry. And in here, probably, depending on where you are, if it's the commercial real estate, I think that it's going to happen something like this. That the small realtor has no, from a point of view, has no opportunity to compete because he needs a lot of money in order to invest and to digitalize the industry and so on. So my view is that in 10 years, the small realtors are going to disappear for sure. I feel bad.
They can work with you at some point? I mean,
so
when
they can work as an employee for sure.
Well, okay. It's a very aggressive one, but this is like the taxis and the Ubers and Cabifys,
no,
etc.
because in here there is a point which is a little bit different. In Uber and so on, there is a quite a regulation, and in here it's like I like more the travel industry. No? I think that we are more close to that.
Yeah.
And in here, the difference, I think, from my point of view, is that the mainstream houses are going to go for a model like us. But then there are going to be niche markets. No? For example,
like the travel agencies.
Like the travel agencies for a wedding, maybe. No, you go to a travel agency, or travel agencies are specialized for businesses and so on. No, there are going to be some niche. And I think that these are the ones that are going to survive and they're going to make a lot of money.
So, Adrian, do you think that in your case that you're talking more about the government side? We're full aware that blockchain can help on reducing paperwork and increasing and improving the way we register our houses, etc. So it'll be notaries, it'll be agencies, lawyers, etc., that they will struggle with that as well. So you at some point, this is going to disrupt as well by facilitating the process of acquiring a property. Why the corporations, or do you think the big corporations, they are approaching you and are you seeing that they want to introduce blockchain in their own thesis, or they're just far away from that?
The big companies have two choices. One of them is to start the disruption themselves, and the other way is to wait for somebody to disrupt them. If you look at banks, many banks say, we don't want to deal with crypto, we close accounts for people receiving money from exchanges, but the same companies are filing 20 patents for blockchain things. So they say something, but they are doing something else. So when you come to an event like this, I believe you want to hear things which are not known by all the other people, right? Because in the real world, 2% of the people own 98% of the money, properties, and businesses. So you have a chance to be in this 2%. So, nobody is safe, because to be number one in the market and to stay quiet, not to embrace the new technologies. Look at Nokia. Nokia I saw yesterday in a presentation, Nokia in 2003 or 7 was the number one mobile company. And now, of course, they have something, but...
And there was a portrait of the Time magazine that said, who can beat Nokia?
Yes, exactly. So in everything you are doing, if you are a corporation or a startup, because social media, for example, and all the technologies allow you, anybody, to compress decades in years and years in months. The stage in a market of a product, of an idea, which was 5 years, now is 3 months.
Yeah.
Look at every few months there's a new iPhone, right? So you need to be proactive to learn. Even if you are a huge corporation, and corporations, what they are doing, they are creating a cluster in the corporation, like a startup incubator or a startup accelerator. And through that division, they are buying what's the new thing. What Facebook is doing, for example, and it's very, Facebook organized this week a financial summit in London and invited many fintech companies. Why? Because they want either to launch a cryptocurrency, or because they have the network, or to buy somebody. And what they are doing, why they bought Instagram? Because what happened with MySpace a few years ago? They were number one. Appeared Facebook, and MySpace is like a ghost town. And they are buying everything which can be the next big thing. This is the way corporations are doing.
Of course, I fully agree that there is barriers and there is changes in the corporation world. Look at Kodak, look at Nokia. But those companies, for instance, Nokia, they started doing tires, right? Or not telephones.
It's something like this.
Yeah, something like this. I'm not sure about that. But look, where do you see yourselves as entrepreneurs? I mean, from your own business model's perspective, how is it going to? What is going to be the next thing that you can use leveraging on your own platform?
Look, in my opinion, and to sum up
Just
and
to
be
summarize,
very,
because
very,
we have a
very
couple
quick,
of minutes.
very quick.
All right.
Look, the digital revolution maybe is the only revolution or the only technology revolution that we have as humans be experimented, where the first ones to be adopting the technology are the people, not the companies. I mean, industrial revolution, cars, whatever. I mean, the companies were the first, and then people were the ones receiving the benefits. Now it's different. I mean, it's people, everybody with a mobile phone. I mean, it's digital, and then it's the companies that go behind and say, okay, what can we do with this digital, with everybody digital? What can we do? Now, I mean, what I see is that being digitals, we are able to provide something which creates value for the digital people. I mean, the way that I think that it's the way that Pronto Piso does. Albert is going to say the same. Probably Adrian, because we go digital and we provide a solution right now that it's clear-cut for them. I mean, this is something that the companies, if they wait for that, they are not able to provide. I mean, they have to go now to look what the people need and provide the solution, and that's what we do. And this is, in the future years, what I look for.
Yeah, well, for me the future it's quite complicated because if you go in 10 years, people is going to have, I don't know, 20 or 30 jobs in their career, so it's a lot. They are going to live in different countries. The cars probably will not exist as we know today. No, there are going to be automated cars, and these things are going to affect a lot in where you live and how you live. So it's quite complicated to know. So for me, the way is the one that reduces friction in selling or renting and so on is the one that is going to win.
All right. Well,
I'm doing something very simple. I try to be as creative as possible, to be not to be replaced by a robot, no matter what. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, this is important.
We're running out of time. Well, thank you very much for your contributions. I think it has been very insightful, so big applause for these guys. And thank you. There is any question, quick ones? Because...
For Andres.
No, you are in the middle.
No.
No, he was looking at me.
Since you're putting the man in the middle, are you working on blockchain?
Asking if he's planning to work on blockchain.
Yeah. I'm not, but as he was saying, part of the blockchain has to come from the government.
And it maybe,
for example,
sorry, maybe blockchain will become a fad, will be replaced by something else.
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe blockchain will remain MySpace. In my case, you can write to me or email me. You can find me on social media.
For example,
I answer to anybody.
notaries. I would love to replace notaries because this reduces the friction. There is a lot of friction in notaries. Why do I have to go to an office to sign a contract? This is like from the 18th century. But it's something that I cannot change. It depends from rules, from the government. So it's the government that has to do the movement, and I will go, for sure.
Sorry, guys.
Waiting for the government
To deregulate.
I have to interrupt. There is just one last question because someone is going to kill me at some point. But go ahead, please.
Do you see yourselves as real estate professionals working together and collaborating to make the market more transparent and more reliable, not just for the customers, but for you as real estate professionals? Because the market is notorious for the intermediaries being left out. And when your work is done, maybe not always you get paid. So do you see you guys coming together and working for some digital solution to make that happen in the future?
When this is business, when you create a category, when you create a market, which is new, that people start to, well, what the hell is this? No? Your competitors, they have to be your partners. So I want Andres to be as much professional as possible, because if he's not professional, he's killing me.
PropTech is crap.
Then in 10 years, I will go. I will love to kill Andres in 10 years, but now it's my best friend.
Well,
Good situation. I mean, if that happens,
That's a good situation.
Yeah.
But now we have to create this category, and people has to say that, oh, this PropTech is cool, I love, and I don't want to use the traditional thing, I want to go to PropTech and so on. Because if we don't do that, we are killing each other.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Guys, congratulations.